Hello, welcome back to school. This video is going to talk about the grand staff, and it's going to introduce the notes that are above and below the treble and the bass staff. So, with that, we have our staves written out here. There is the treble staff, the bass. This is just a vertical line. I honestly don't know if it has a name, but this funny doodad off to the side, curly Q. If I remember right, this is called a brace. There is another symbol that looks like this. This is called a bracket. The brace is used for instruments and staves of the same family or divisions, more or less. So like keyboard music, if there's a first violin and a second violin, these would be used to brace. The bracket is used for grouping like a family together, like a choir score. The choir parts are usually linked with a bracket. If I'm not mistaken, I think like on a full orchestra score, like pretend that these lines are actual staves of music. So let's say this is, I don't know, Opus 10 by some guy by the name of Mark. Some great composer. Okay, so he writes some big fancy orchestra score. All these lines are music. And let's see, this is going to be the woodwind. So we're going to have, let's say, the flutes are going to be split, but the whole family of woodwinds is going to use a bracket. And then let's say we have some percussion stuff going on, possibly a harp. A harp is going to use the bracket or the brace. And then down at the bottom of the score, you have your strings, and let's see here, they're all going to be grouped together. But let's see, you got your first violins and your second violins, and you got your bass and your violas or whatever. It kind of works like that. I never took any orchestration class, so and I don't look at orchestra scores too often to actually know how these are used, but that is kind of the concept. So I'm going to erase the bracket. Okay, so we are going to insert the treble clef, and by this point you should have a fairly good handle on where these notes are. We're going to insert the bass clef. Now, we have covered all the notes on the staff for both of these instruments, or both of these clefs. So we left off, let's write out these for the notes descending. So this is sol, la, or sol, fa, mi, and so now we're at the end of the staff. What do? We need to get down, we need to sing lower or play lower. How do we do this? We just continue to add notes. After mi, we have re, and again, this is D in the alphabetic system. And then we come to a very special note, which we call do, also called middle C. This is the point when students begin to learn to play an instrument, piano. This is usually where they begin. They begin to identify where this note is on the keyboard and where this note is on the staff. So this note is middle C or middle do, re, mi, fa, and sol, and so on up the board, or up the staff. So this covers the lower part. If we wanted to continue to descend below this middle C or this middle do, we can continue by adding more lines. So if we're just going to extend the staff, I'm going to erase this middle do part here. This is kind of in my way. Okay, so we have middle do, and if we wanted to continue, we would draw another line and write the pitch below that line. And this would be T, or T or B. And if we wanted to continue, we just continue adding lines. And this one here would be La or A, and it would just continue. We want to continue down. We have what is called Sol or G. Now, looking at this, if I were to extend this staff out, which, why don't I do that? Now you saw that I just added lines to this staff, to the treble staff. What I have now done is extended the bass staff, and you'll see that the lines, this is not very even, there, a little bit better. You'll see that the lines got gulped up by the staff of this extension. So all these lines here, these what we call ledger lines, I should have indicated that earlier. So these little tiny lines that are used below and above the staff, these are called ledger lines. These ledger lines are nothing more than a small extension of, in this case, the bass staff. So all of these notes will intertwine with each other. So if we were to look at the notes above the bass, if we have fa here, sol, la. Actually, let me move over. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna redo this because I might need to make my bass clef a little bit smaller. One moment. User so that connects. That connects. That connects. That connects. And that connects. Okay, so we have our bass clef. Okay, so we're gonna do this again. So we have fa, which is here. And I'm gonna write the letters or the words underneath so they're not engulfed up by the staff. Sol is here. And these are all pitches that we are familiar with. And here we have la. And again, we've ran out of pitches. So what do? We just continue to climb up the ladder as we would in any climbing situation. This is T, also known as B. And look at here. After T, we came into that do. This is middle do. So if we were to play this on the keyboard or the piano, this is what it would sound like. Oops, tripping over something. Cat mice. So this is the treble clef. And then it can descend down. This is the bass clef. And it can continue to go up. So playing them together, if I were to meet at that middle do or that middle C, this is what it's going to sound like. And if I were to play the opposite, it's play it back out again. So this is why this middle do or this middle C is extremely important. This middle C is what links the two staffs, the treble and the bass staff, together. I'm trying to think. So if we were to continue extending up on the bass side and go above the staff, we would basically be writing all of these notes. So we have the treble staff, which is going down this way. The bass, as it climbs up, it's going to ascend, and basically you have this large X going on musically. So we have do. This pitch here is going to be re, which I've got writing all over the place. So this is re. And then on the staff here, we have mi, and everything is basically the same thing. Mi, and then fa, sol, la, and ti, and do. So this is like the basically it's the crux of the treble and bass staff is this guy right here. That's that middle do. It what brings the bass and the treble together. Now that I've completely made a mess of my staff, I'm going to have to redraw this so that we can do the extensions. So if I were to, just for giggles, draw this bass staff again, because I kind of showed you with the treble, but I didn't show you with the bass. Okay, so this is the bass, and we know that this pitch here is La. And if we continue to go up, as we said, this is going to be T. And this note here, usually when you're reading off the ledger lines, you're not going to have that other staff above it. So the ledger lines are just going to continue to extend. This is Do, and this is Re, and as we continue to go up, officially now we are on the fourth or the first line of the treble clef. This is me. But if you're just reading off bass clef, more than likely you're going to see these upper notes written out like this. And these things will just take practice to identify, okay, 3 ledger lines above or 3 ledger lines below. It just takes practice. So, yeah. Okay, so that's the extension of the treble or the bass. Now let's go through the lower end, since we have the bass staff up here. Let's go through the lower end and see how that is written out on the bass. So we know that this is, again, we know that this is La, or A, and then this is Sol, or G. Now again, we've ran out of space, but we can just continue to write notes below the staff. Sol, this is Fa, and one ledger line below is going to be Mi, or E, and Fa is F. And 2 ledger lines below the first ledger line, that's Re, or D. 2 ledger lines below the bass is Do, or C. So this is how the extension of the bass staff works. This is not, it's not used horribly a lot unless you're like into really, I wouldn't say advanced music, but you are you're long time studying. Usually at the most you might get down to this note, if that. But these lower notes are most commonly used with piano music and lower pedal footboard or whatever on an organ, things like that. Okay, so that is the lower part of the bass, the extreme bass. Now we're going to do the upper part of the treble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is our treble. We've already talked about these. This is mi. This is re. And how the lower notes on the treble clef without the bass would look something like this. This is that middle C or do. This is D, this is E. So this is how the staff would look. And again, you can continue to descend. This is T. And again, officially here, La. Officially here, you're on the 5th line of the bass staff. So that's the lower part of the treble. The upper part of the treble is going to be a little bit different. Erase these. Okay, so we know where Fa is the upper note here. Gonna draw that in. This is Fa. This is the last note on the staff. Continuing up, this is Sol. And then we have La or A. And this is your first ledger line. La. And then T would be above that. And Do would be 2 ledger lines above. So again, I mean, it could continue. You could just continue to add ledger lines. Eventually it does get to a point where it just gets really difficult for the eye to read. So there are other means of indicating higher notes, but still writing it on the staff. We're not going to cover those right now, but they do exist. But in general, the notes here are pretty much the standard notes above the treble staff, and the notes earlier that I drew up below the bass staff, and then that intertwining thing in the middle that I first showed for the treble and bass staff together. So that covers the ledger lines and the extreme heights and depths, I guess you could say, of the treble and bass staff. So the next video will be talking about ways of altering pitches. And so, yeah. So if you want to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget, ring the notification bell for all notifications.